Alright, now it's time to jump into Mega Man BattleNetwork for real this time. Where we last left off. It's kinda crazy. Scrolling back. We left off all the way back to, I think it was Bomb Man? Holy cow. Yeah, Bomb Man. We beat him and he blew up the access to World 3. So we're like, oh, shucks. How do we get in there now? So we went back to Dad and we're like, how do we get in there? Maybe you know. And Dad's like, have you seen Chad? And we're like, no, he's a jerk. And Dad's like, well, I don't want you or Mega Man to take on World 3. Can Chad take on World 3? And we're like, no, he's a jerk. And Dad's like, I'll tell Chad where World 3 is, but not you. And we're like, wow, he's a jerk. Dad's like, alright, but I'll email it to you later. And it's like, why? I'm here. So you gotta go all the way back home and go to bed. And Mega Man's like, do you really want to go to bed? And so it really feels like a point of no return. So you go to bed, and World 3 now knows that the Psi Lab has their address somehow. Maybe they have like a inside man, and Wily's like, doesn't matter. And then he fuses all their programs together to make the life virus. You know how I said they're gonna make a ultimate net navi? Well, I was kind of wrong. He says endgame begins now. So Dad decrypts the World 3 address, and turns out they're in the mountains, and he has no clue how to get there. So we go downstairs, and Wily comes on the TV, and he's like, I'm gonna launch a hacking rocket at the country's military satellites. Why would you... First off, why would you announce that? Second off, first time I read that through, I was like, oh geez, that's crazy, that's insane. But the second time I read it through, I was like, okay, sending a rocket at a satellite, that's horrible. Hacking a satellite, that's equally as horrible. You know, stealing all the information. Unless you're a rocket, you know, that just blows it up. You know, what's the military gonna do without that? Hacking rocket. What the heck does that even mean or do, or what? Are you gonna steal the information and then blow it up? I don't know. Wily seems a little confused. So Mega Man then says, let's ask Higsby how to get to the World 3 hideout. So you go to his chip shop, and Higsby's gone. All that's left is an expired Metroline pass. You show the conductors, and they don't even know what it is, and but they know that they've heard that a train has been heard, but they don't see one. So you're like, a mystery's afoot. And then you see the statue bust in front of the school. If you stand next to it, you can hear a train. Then you inspect it, and there's a door to the Metroline beneath the statue bust. And then Melu is like watching you from afar. Land's like, our pass is out of date. Well, let's try anyway. And he tries, and then like everything freaks out. It starts being like, intruder alert, intruder alert. Land blows our cover, and he's like, oh well, back to Dad, whatever. Dad's like, let me just reset the expiration date. This is super easy. Why don't you come here first? beep boop, and it resets in like 30 seconds. You go back to the Metro line, it works, and then Mom calls Dr. Hikari, and Dr. Hikari's like, I'll protect them. I will never let what happened last time happen again. And then Mom's like, I'm sorry to have called you at work. And he's like, I'm sorry to, I don't come home more. You know, a little tender moment from the parents there. And then Dr. Hikari gets an update by scientists. And they're like, the virus in the rocket, it's the life virus. Dr. Hikari's like, Lane and Hub don't stand a chance. We've got to act fast. So you go forth, and Higsby, Yuri, and the old man, the people that used to work for World 3, they're tied up. You untie them, and you're like, alright, this is it. We're getting ready for the real showdown. And you go up, and there's a locked door. Oh boy. There's more to this game. So you jack in Mega Man, and it's the flashback zone. This is one of my favorite parts in games, where it's like taking you down memory lane. You know, remember this, remember that, remember this? You know, all your past accomplishments are in your face, seeing if you can beat them one last time. This is one of my favorite things this game does. So this is the fire area with the ice blocks, and you know, they give you just enough to get to the end, and then at the end there's like fire everywhere, and Mega Man's like, we don't have enough ice blocks, so what do? Yaw and Glide come out of nowhere. This is my other favorite thing they do in games, where your friends come out of nowhere, and then Yaw gives you roll 3, and you know, then you gotta leave them. You know, your friends come in, and then, you know, one by one you have to leave them. You know, I give this game bonus points for this. This is my favorite thing ever. Next area, it's another locked door. It's a password area. It's just a million doors. I don't think they could have thought of a worse area. Remember how I gave this game like a bunch of points? I'm taking back like half of those for this area. So in this area you gotta be like, oh, is the password 20? No, it's higher than that. Is it 25? No, it's lower. 23? No. And you gotta do that for like a bunch of doors, and some of the doors are like dead ends. So this area is like torture to my soul. And then eventually you get to the end, and there's a door that takes too much time, and then Higsby and Numberman come out of nowhere. Remember at the beginning of this podcast playthrough how I was like, Higsby, I don't know if he can redeem himself. You know, he was brainwashing kids. And then like 5 minutes ago how I said, oh, you know, he was tied up. Well, he comes out of nowhere. Numberman is like, burp, 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 and then he decodes this password in like 3 seconds. I don't know. He's a real homie now. He's a bro. Next area, it's another locked door, another blast from the past. It's an ice area. Now say, not as bad. You know, ice area is one of the worst areas in this game, but now it's like you can breeze through it without a guide. Dr. Freud comes in, and Iceman, he just gobbles up all the ice. Next area is another locked door. It's the Undernet area, and Dex and Gutsman come in, and Gutsman comes in with a yee-haw, and he destroys the boulder. Then you can enter the World 3 meeting room you see in the cutscenes, and behind the painting of Wily is a tunnel. And I want to, at this point, be like, shout out some of the enemies that have been appearing. There's a candle guy that he puts down a candle and he starts healing. That guy was cool. There's a guy who's in a bubble. You gotta break the bubble and then, break him. And then there's heads that just launch their faces at you and you gotta shoot the faces. That guy was cool. And then you wander along the hallway. And this little guy, he says, this is the absolute point of no return. Save now. You save, and then Melu and Roll appear, and she says she's the one to round up everyone. And then Roll creates a platform, Panel del Pawn style. Mega blows up the lock, and then Yahoot and Magic Man appear. You're like, what's Yahoot been doing? He's just been standing in the background this whole time. And, there's a reason. He's been the right-hand man. Your right-hand man to disappear. Your right hand comes off. Magic Man says, for my next trick. And I'll give Capcom credit. They didn't make him say, I'll make you disappear. So, bonus points for that. His whole thing is he summons them enemies. Just kind of make sure those enemies are gone before dealing with Magic Man. Not too difficult. Once you beat him, Wily then gives Magic Man a bit of life data from the life iris, and boom, he blasts Mega Man. He's on the ground, and then boom, Proto Man cuts Magic Man apart, and then Chad gives Lan Hub Bat and tells Dr. Hikari he was too late. And now this is when it gets crazy. Dr. Hikari says Mega Man was made to be a net navi to respond to your emotions / create its own emotions. Now, does that mean like all the other net navis have no emotions, or do they have like little to limited emotions? I'm not sure. Now, while you're processing that, chew on this. Mega Man was created from Lan's dead brother, Hub. Because they needed, someone with the same DNA, of course. Mega Man also knew about this all along, and nobody would say in case Lan wouldn't send him into risky places. Like when the power went out and they were like down below, and Zap Man, Dr. What's his name? Zap Man? Zap something. Zap. Is there a way I can find this out easy? Zap. Count Zap. And Count Zap turned out all the power everywhere. And Lan was going to put Mega Man in the computer. And the scientist is like, if you die in the computer, like Mega Man is gone. Like suicidal. And Mega Man's power gets drained slowly in there. And imagine if Lan knew that then. Like, I get why they said that. It's like crazy. This is a crazy twist. Okay. So they give Lan Hub Bat, and they're like, you can do it. This might save Mega Man, but you're also gonna be like fused with Mega Man, and if he takes damage from now on, you'll take the same damage. And so Lan does it, and Hub Bat rewrites Mega Man's code. It's like that Pokemon episode where Team Rocket's the gym leaders of Viridian City, and Ash takes the same damage as his Pokemon, and Team Rocket accidentally makes it so they do too. And then Hub says, "Sorry for not telling you the truth." This is another crazy thing. Lan says, "Sorry for ordering you around all these," caps lock, "years. How long have they been partners?" And then you enter the painting, and there's Wily in the rocket. And Lan's like, "What's the deal with you? Why do you want revenge?" And he wants revenge on Lan's grandpa, because the country chose to fund him instead of Wily. He made robots, and his grandpa made specialized networks. And his robot research got canceled. Or because his robot research got canceled, he started World 3. Now, I can I see where he's coming from. Like, he got stuck in the past, and he couldn't move past. Like, I don't... I can see why people would be like, "Oh, he's a lame villain," but, you know, he's stuck in the past. You know, there's a reason why he's a villain. He can't overlook one slip up. You know, if he realized his wrongdoings, if he realized that one wrongdoing, it would be easy for him to realize all the other wrongdoings, I guess. I can kind of see where, or how he would fall into that pitfall, I guess. I don't know. He's looking to the past instead of looking into the future. So instead of focusing on robot, like, he's not even a robot guy anymore. He's focused on getting back with Lan's grandpa, who we don't even see. That's how crazy Wily is. You could pretty much connect this with the mainline Mega Man continuity, perhaps. I'm not sure. Well, we'll see in Mega Man BattleNetwork too. I don't know. Oh geez, I spilled something everywhere. So we So Wily's about to press the button, and then somehow we stick Mega Man into the rocket just before he presses a button, which is like superhuman skills. And it reminds me of Cave of the Past, because you're like a robot walking around like a little narrow walkway. And then you fight the Life Virus, and the Life Virus has like a little barrier around him. And he's got little elemental parasites, and the barrier only lowers when he's attacking. And so you just gotta deal with the parasites. And you know, they shoot off like wood and fire and electric. And not overly difficult, but kinda a good level of difficulty. But I would say the only hard thing is if you lose, then you gotta go back and fight Magic Man again, which I couldn't even imagine not having the Mega Buster or whatever. So once you beat him, he blips out of existence, and Wily's like, "No, my baby!" And then everything self-destructs. We meet up with Melu and Chad, and they're just chilling in an exploding lab. And we're like, "How are you?" Like, get out of there. Everything is exploding. Wily cries, World 3 forever! And then his lab blows up. And then everyone shows up at our house. Dr. Hikari, Mom, Melu, Higsby, Miss Yuri, Miss Mari, Dex, Chad, Dr. Freud, and Yai. And Roll and Mega Man are trying to be wingman and trying to help out Lan and Melu. But Lan doesn't want to hear it. And then Chad doesn't want to be part of the happy bunch. Bonnie is. And Mega Man is like, call me Mega Man, don't call me Hub. And then he's like, you're getting yourself up in the morning from now on, ha ha. And then a burglary sets off an alarm, and we have a movie-like ending where Lan jumps up in the air. And then that's the end of the game, besides a secret boss base who you can fight at level 80, or if you're at least level 80, have 174 chips and beat the life virus, which I did not do because that sounds crazy. I think I'm like level 40 or something. I don't know. But that was the game. Very fun game. I already jumped into Mega Man BattleNetwork 2, and I'll say the improvements are crazy. Just from the UI alone. We'll talk about it a little bit as we get into the rest of the Season 1 anime. Episode 9 introduces Chad and Yahoot, who has his own like yoga TV show where everyone watches, and he hypnotizes like everyone to turn into animals, which I'll nitpick a little and say Mega Man and Roll and their NetNavi friends were watching, so why weren't they hypnotized? Yahoot was on top of like a bunch of chairs, and Lan he saw him on a bunch of chairs and he said, "That's a nice chair, E-Tree." I'll say that was a bit of a reach for a pun, but that was one of the better puns in this show. Like, they really take puns and go ham on them. Especially the roll puns, which we'll get into later. Proto Man comes out, he decimates Magic Man in one strike, hitting fire back at him. And Yahoot, he has like magical powers in the show, which is really interesting. He disappears into nothingness, and he frees everyone from being hypnotized, which is really generous of him. Maybe they had a plan of using the people for something, and I don't know, they had to be people. they didn't need them to be animals. I'm not sure why they would free them from not being animals. So episode 10, everyone is training for the N1 Grand Prix. World 3 are dabbling in the tournament, and then we meet Rabita for the first time. She is extremely difficult boss in BattleNetwork 2. Probably at the same level as Sharkman. Sal and Miyu are working for Mesa, who calls himself Commander Beef, as his alter ego. And they are a bunch of secret net agents. Dr. Hikari is in the Amazon wrestling crocodiles, and there's like a Digimon movie reference callback where Numberman is like in the internet because Higsby is trying to power up Numberman, and Higsby like powered up Numberman too much, and now Numberman is like crawling around the internet, like getting more and more powerful. And Skullman, Iceman help out, and which makes Dex late for his match. And he has a Ash versus Richie style entrance. If you remember from the Indigo League, Dex enters down from the sky, and Dex wins his match in 30 seconds, which is crazy. Like, what? Like, how much do you think you have to pay for a to watch in the tournament if it's just gonna be over in 30 seconds? And then Chad wins his in 12 seconds. You have to, I think you would have to pay like a whole bunch, but you get to watch a whole bunch of matches. And then episode 11, they do their first previously on Mega Man BattleNetwork, or NT Warrior it would be called. It's Iceman versus Rocket Man. Lan meets Mew. Higsby gives Lan a bunch of mini boomers. I thought that was funny. World 3 is just sitting in the stands, which is crazy. My theory is when Yahoot turned everyone back, the humans, he like made everyone forget that they were like internationally wanted criminals, and now they're on the same league as Team Rocket. That is the only way I can justify them sitting into the stands, but crazier things are just getting along the way. Mew doesn't want Lan to get hurt doing something he's not ready for. And then it's Mew versus Lan, and Mega Man does a doppelganger jutsu with mini boomers, and Skullman is like super fast, and somehow Skullman like somehow Mega Man fakes out Skullman with a bunch of bombs, and Mew takes out Skullman before I guess things get too crazy. I don't know. And then there's an ominous Mr. Match cliffhanger where he says, "That's the last time you'll celebrate. I'm going to delete your NetNavi." Which, we fought you 2 times before, Mr. Match. Why are you the big bad? Episode 12, previously on blah blah blah. World 3, they're now in the tournament. They're no longer bystanders. It's now Maddie versus Meilu, and they have like a rivalry thing going on. Maddie stole Meilu's hat. It's Mr. Match versus Lan. Sharkman wins in 7 seconds. Commander Beef talking about Beefburg. He's from Beefburg. Lan asks Mew about Commander Beef, and she says, "Oh, that's strange. She's wearing a fish head," and she says it's so funny. And Lan acknowledges he's beaten Mr. Match before, and then I put Pog. When they're announcing the names, they just say, "All right, next match is Mr. Match." What is Mr. Match's first name? They come up on like Yu-Gi-Oh style platforms, and Mr. Match is like, "You can't beat me. I have upgraded Torchman." Mew and Sal are sitting in the stands, and they're like, "We cannot arrest Maddie until she commits a crime." I want to say that gives more credence into my mass hypnosis theory. Maddie uses a mirror to blind Meilu, but Yai comes along and reflects the light with her forehead. And there's roll puns throughout this entire episode. It's crazy. Episode 13, there's another previously on. Mr. Match utilizes the power of the sun. He like brings it down and like scorches the entire arena. With a virus, I should say. And Robita is like, "It's a virus!" She says it's so funny. Even in secret, Mew calls Mesa Commander Beef. I thought that was funny. Mega Man says, "Mega bad." That was funny. Lan collapses from heat exhaustion. Probably from Torch or Mr. Madge bringing down the sun's heat rays with solar panels. I said in my notes, this is like Ruby Volume 3, how like the fighting or the tournament arc got suspended because of a giant Grim coming down. That's the only equivalent I have to this. Dex, Yai, and Tori are fighting to beat up the fire virus, and they just spend a lot of time between Torchman and Mega Man, like fighting, and it's like we've beaten him twice before. How much upgraded can Torchman? I get like people becoming stronger in Pokemon. It's like you can see the change between like Noibat and Noivern, but it's like Torchman and Torchman. I know you have a. I feel like I'm trying on not solid ground here. You only have so many chips to work with in the show. Until, you get the later chips. And in the show, there's not like a lot of crazy backgrounds to use until I'm guessing like the later games. But like how would you make Torchman look more powerful without some other method? I don't know. Higsby versus Sal. Why not Black Rose? Multiple Woodman? Oh, it's Higsby versus Sal. And I said, are there multiple Woodman? Before she was hiding her identity as Black Rose, and everyone's like, who is Woodman? As a good question, I'm going to say hypnosis again. Previously on episode 14, Higsby joins Robita as co-commentator for the N1 Grand Prix. Now, he just seems like a commentator. Lan checks out the chip his dad sent him before the message. And that I put in apostrophes, Higsby move. Glide is in a suit. Commander Beef download images from Mew's crystal ball to show Sal. Chad Blaze. Yeah, his last name is Blaze. And I just want to remind everyone his name is Eugene Chad. He says in the restaurant, you guys have first-class food, but don't serve third-class gaming companies like Yai's family. Very Seto Kaiba statement. Mesa gets kidnapped by Chad's henchmen. Chad says if Lan kept fighting Torchman, he would have lost. I highly disagree. Lan is trying to stop him, but ends up in traffic. Like in the middle of traffic. Like an intersection. And all of a sudden, they like jack into like street lights and monitors. And they're up on huge, like dozens of huge monitors. And nobody's watching them. And Mega Man is dual wielding swords. And Wily's suddenly Wiley's viruses enter match, and monitors just explode because of all the viruses, and dozens of things go haywire. And then Lan's like, oh, what if I fuse these 3 sword chips together? And it's called Program Advance, which I've never even, like, they've talked about like morphing in the game, but I never even did it. But it looked cool, or it sounded cool, and he did it, and he got like a little, like, all the enemies disappeared, and he almost got a sword, but he wasn't at the right level to use it yet. And then Proto Man's like, yeah, stay out of my way. And Lan's like, maybe one day I'll figure out how to use Program Advance. Higsby's like, good job, kid. And that's the episode. So, what did we learn today? We learned how to use Program Advance. Mega Man BattleNetwork was a fun game, and thank you for recommending it if you did. Next game we're playing is Majora's Mask. So, hope you can stick around for that. I'm going to be playing Mega Man BattleNetwork 2 in my off time. So, I'll let you know what I think of that. Thank you for watching this and my rant about Pikmin and Oxenfree, if you've watched that. Thank you so much. It's really been a trip. I didn't expect... I'll say this again. I really didn't expect to like Mega Man BattleNetwork as much as I did. And I don't think I would have been playing Mega Man BattleNetwork 2 or even watching the show if I didn't like it. So thank you so much for recommending it. Thank you for watching this. Thank you.